and welcome. You're listening to the X22 Report. My name is Dave, and this is episode 1993B, and today's date is October 11th, 2019, and the title of the episode is Impeachment Coming Apart, Whistleblower Revealed, Deep State is Trapped. Now, before I get started, I wanted to talk about protecting yourself. With all the common threats nowadays in America, one of the best things you can invest in for your home protection is a Patriot Brother flashlight. Patriot Brother wants to extend a special 20% Patriot discount to all customers. Never waste money on batteries again. The Patriot Brother X is solar-powered, life-saving emergency strobe light. Charge your phone anywhere, anytime with USB port. Take advantage now and give you and your family the gift of night protection. Click the link below. Let's get into the economic collapse, political and geopolitical news. Now, the deep state fake impeachment is running into problems. The whistleblower identity is being revealed, and it seems a candidate running for the presidential election is associated with the whistleblower, and the whistleblower does not want to testify. The lawyers of the whistleblower wants testimony via letters. It is all falling apart for them. The scam is being revealed. The patriots are exposing it all. Why interfere with an enemy while they're destroying themselves? We'll be discussing this a little bit later in this report. But first, it seems Mitt Romney realizes he does not have a chance to become president in the 2020 elections. Mitt Romney, or Trump likes to call him Mittens, he confirmed that he will not mount a primary challenge to Trump, stating that the president will be the Republican presidential nominee and likely win re-election in 2020. Trump tweeted out the following: Mitt Romney never knew how to win. He is a pompous ass who has been fighting me from the beginning, except when he begged me for my endorsement for his Senate run. I gave it to him. And when he begged me to be Secretary of State, I didn't give it to him. He is so bad for Republicans. Now, the case against Hunter and Joe Biden is building and building and building. The Patriots have been gathering evidence, and Hunter has disappeared. Actually, we haven't heard from Barack Obama either. He hasn't said a word. Nothing about Biden and Ukraine. That's kind of odd. Rudy Giuliani is producing more and more evidence, and he's letting everyone know that Ukraine and China are not the only places we should be looking at. Giuliani says, keep your eye on Romania. He says there's Biden corruption there too as well as another country he hasn't named yet. So Rudy Giuliani right now, he has so much evidence on the Bidens, he's just releasing a little bit at a time. Wave after wave. This is all being done on purpose. Why? It's to inflict pain. And as you can see, the Biden camp, they're freaking out. They're saying, don't run Trump ads, don't put articles in the paper, don't talk about Ukraine. They're trying to stop all of this. That's called panic. Now, Devin Nunes, he said that the fired ambassador was working with the Democrats before her testimony today. He said, it is well known, we've had both former officials and current officials come and tell us that this was a very partisan ambassador. This was somebody who was not only supporting the Clintons when Clinton was running, telling the people that Clinton was going to win, prognosticating about it, but also once Trump won, was bad-mouthing the Trump administration in Ukraine. To Ukrainians and State Department staff, he continued, my guess here is that this is someone who the Democrats have been coordinating with. Let's not pretend that this ambassador hasn't been working with the Democrats. That's been happening. And he's absolutely right. This whole thing has been pre-planned from the beginning. They've been speaking to all the players. Absolutely. Now, we know Rudy Giuliani was working with two individuals to gain information on what happened in Ukraine. And these individuals were arrested. But we need to understand that the arrest has nothing to do with Rudy Giuliani, Trump, or the Ukraine call. Actually, this goes all the way back to July 2018. They were waiting for the right moment to unseal this. Why? Because they wanted to discredit Giuliani. The indictment was related to campaign finance violations that reported in July 2018. before the so-called whistleblower reported the call, and had nothing to do with the subject of the impeachment inquiry. Federal prosecutors in the Southern District of New York unsealed an indictment against the U.S. citizens, 3 of whom were born abroad. 2 of them, Ukrainian-American Lev Parnas and Belarusian-American Igor Fruman, are political neophytes who are accused of passing campaign contributions from a foreign donor to pro-Trump organizations through a fictitious company. They also made other fraudulent individual contributions to politicians they hoped to influence, so as to advance their own personal financial interest and the political interest of Ukrainian government officials. But when you read the indictment, it does not mention Giuliani. It doesn't mention Giuliani's investigation, nor does it mention the Ukraine call itself. The only thing the indictment and the phone call share in common is a mention of the effort to replace the former U.S. ambassador to Ukraine. Pars and Fruman allegedly hoped donations to a Congressman 1, which was later identified as former Rep. Pete Sessions, would influence him to ask the administration to replace the ambassador. Now, Sessions put out a statement, said he approached the State Department, but not because the businessmen asked him to. Rather, he said he was informed by other colleagues that the ambassador was trashing the president. So whatever these 2 individuals were doing about the ambassador happened long before the Ukrainian call. Likewise, their campaign contributions happened before the call. A watchdog group filed a complaint with the Federal Election Commission about these 2 people and the 2 unnamed John Doe conspirators in July of 2018. But they sat on it. And guess what they did? They released it when they needed it to discredit Giuliani. And remember, the Southern District of New York has done this before, indicting former Trump lawyer Michael Cohen during the Russia collusion investigation. The media jumped to the wrong conclusions then, and they're doing it now. They're going to get burned once again. Now, the whistleblower, who the mainstream media and the deep state have been promoting to push the fake impeachment hearing, has decided he does not want to testify in person. But his attorneys graciously offered to submit written answers. This is an unbelievable clown show. Democrats have now officially broken every rule on the impeachment process possible. Then we find out the CIA whistleblower reportedly traveled with Joe Biden to Ukraine when Joe was vice president. I mean, isn't this politically charged now? Yes, it is. Why do you think they're keeping the individual's identity under wraps? Why do you think they wanted to disguise the voice? Why did they want to hold this on a location that was outside of D.C.? Why did they want to disguise this person? It was all done because once we knew who this was, we would make all these connections. But we're making all these connections way ahead of time. BLNL News tweeted out the following. Breaking news. 3 current and former national security officials tell OANN that the CIA whistleblower likely accompanied Joe Biden on one or more of his trips to Ukraine while he was vice president. Internet sleuths started digging to find out the identity of this person. They know this person is associated with Biden. He traveled with Biden, and now they came up with a name. Fool Nelson tweeted out the following. We have our whistleblower, Eric Ceramella. Now, they gave pictures of a Washington, D.C., November 9, 2015, and this individual was the NSC director for Ukraine. And he quit the NSC and returned to his home agency. And you know what that agency was? The CIA. So he had deep knowledge of Ukraine. He used this for the whistleblower complaint. Now, when looking into this individual, we come across none other than Ali Chalupa, DNC operative involved in digging up dirt on Trump and Manafort back during the 2016 election. And remember, Rudy Giuliani put that bombshell out there, showed the email that they were planning something. So now there's a connection here. And we have a picture of this individual. He's standing there with a woman. The woman's face is blocked out. Now, we will know soon if this is actually the person, but it's starting to look like that this might be the person. Then we have this. Adam Schiff recruited 2 former aides who worked alongside the CIA whistleblower at the National Security Council. Abigail Grace, who worked at the NSC until 2018, was hired in February, while Sean Misko, an NSC aide until 2017, joined Schiff's committee staff in August. The same month, wait for it, the whistleblower submitted his complaint. Then we find out a former associate of James Clapper, Charles McCullough, assisted the whistleblower with his complaint against Trump. This complaint, as we know, had incorrect information. Why? Because they never expected Trump to release the phone transcript to compare what the whistleblower was saying to what Trump actually said. This is a coup. This is coming from Greg Jarrett. The former Inspector General for the intelligence community, Charles McCullough, who worked under President Obama's Director of National Intelligence, James Clapper, assisted and advised Ukrainian coal whistleblowers. McCullough is a partnered attorney at Compass Rose Legal and assisted Andrew Bacage, a former staff of both Senator Chuck Schumer and Secretary of State Hillary Clinton. So with James Clapper admitting that President Obama was the one who ordered the intel community to start compiling information to launch the witch hunt, this new revelation should not be that surprising. This just adds to another example of the deep state showing their uncontrollable hatred toward Trump. And all of this brings us to the fake impeachment hearing. Like we discussed before, the subpoenas that the House is issuing, they are not subpoenas, they are letters. Adam Schiff, Elijah Cummings, Elliot Engel continue sending carefully worded letters that they want you to think are subpoenas. Now, they subpoenaed through this letter Rick Perry. And when you read it, you can see the carefully worded letter. It is not a subpoena. And it says the following. Today, Representative Adam B. Schiff, the chairman of the Permanent Select Committee on Intelligence, Representative Elijah Cummings, the chairman of the Committee on Oversight and Reform, and Representative Elliot Engel, the chairman of the Committee of Foreign Affairs, sent a letter conveying a subpoena to Secretary of Energy Rick Perry for key documents by October 8, 2019. So, sent a letter conveying a subpoena. Again, just like all the prior examples, this is not a subpoena. It is a letter calling itself a subpoena and carries no legal penalty for non-compliance. A legislative letter needs to carry judicial enforcement authority, a penalty, in order to be a subpoena. This does not. This is a fake impeachment inquiry. It really doesn't exist. Now, it seems the impeachment game is coming to an end. It's going to be game over. The fake whistleblower lawyers are now retreating. Before, they were like, yes, we're going to give you discounts and we'll support you. Give us information and we'll go after Trump. You know what they got? Nothing. Only the ones they created out of thin air. And now they're backing off of having these people testify in person. They want to use letters to impeach Trump. Think about that for a second. So let's see. The deep state really believes they can remove the most powerful elected political representative of the United States using an anonymous complainer through letters, and they believe that this will be enough to start the impeachment hearings and get the vote. I mean, are these people really that stupid when all the information is coming out now? They've broken every single rule. Do they think they're above the law now? Of course they do. This entire fake impeachment is coming down around them. And now Pelosi, Schiff, and the rest are in the crosshairs of the patriots. House Freedom Caucus tweeted out the following. Being in contact with a key witness and then lying about it renders Adam Schiff unqualified to lead a fair and just inquiry. Members of the House and Freedom Caucus call on Speaker Pelosi to request the immediate recusal of Adam Schiff. Now, do we really see this happening? Most likely not. But they're keeping the pressure up, showing that they broke all the rules. Actually, Pelosi should be removed too. She lied to the American people. She's circumventing the House rules and telling everyone that it's an impeachment inquiry when it's not. And now it seems like it is time to go after Brennan, the architect of the entire push to get Trump out of office. The Department of Justice, they are set to question ex-CIA Director Brennan amid mounting evidence of his conspiratorial use of the now discredited Steele dossier to undermine the Trump campaign and administration in January 2017. Evidence collected by Judicial Watch in a Freedom of Information Act lawsuit made to the Office of the Director of National Intelligence and the Central Intelligence Agency further suggests that the Obama administration weaponized the highest levels of the U.S. intelligence community after the election to discredit Trump and the administration. Judicial Watch has called for further investigation of both CIA Director John Brennan, or I should say ex-CIA Director John Brennan, and ex-Director of National Intelligence James Clapper to uncover the truth about their ill-intentioned leaking of false intelligence to media sources. So, the special prosecutor investigating the spy operations against the 2016 presidential campaign of Trump will question former CIA Director John Brennan. So it looks like Judicial Watch and Department of Justice, they're on the same page now. Boom. Now, we know the deep state, they've been trying to get Trump's tax records since he got into office. Remember, before Trump was brought in, they went through everything to make sure that he was clean. They went through his business, they went through his tax returns, they went through his personal life. They needed to make sure there were no skeletons in the closet. And remember, there's no law that says he needs to hand over his tax records. Actually, he's resisting because he doesn't want to do what the deep state wants him to do. He's saying, no, I don't want this. Force me, push me, and try to get them. And this is what they've been doing. They've been pushing very hard. And the deep state, they believe, since he is holding them back, there must be something there they can use, because otherwise he wouldn't be doing this. Do you think he's setting them up? Absolutely. He did this on purpose. He's going to be using this later on to his advantage. Now, the U.S. Court of Appeals for the District of Columbia Circuit upheld a subpoena for President Trump's accounting records, which means he has to turn them over, which means now he's taking this to the Supreme Court. That's where the battle will be held, at the Supreme Court level, because we have to remember, these other court systems, they're heavily weighted with Obama and Clinton appointees. And every time, and we've seen this before, they keep moving this up and up and up to the next level until they get to the Supreme Court. And then what does the Supreme Court do? They rule in favor of Trump. And that's where all this is headed. Now, in the case of Deutsche Bank is saying they don't have any tax returns belonging to Trump that pertain to a subpoena from House Democrats. The appeals court denied a motion from a group of media outlets, including the Associated Press, CNN, and the New York Times, to disclose the names of individuals whose tax returns Deutsche Bank has in relation to Trump's lawsuit. And Deutsche Bank is saying, we can't abide by this. We don't have the tax returns. Again, this is not going to help the deep state. Actually, it's going to hurt the deep state in the end. Trump is going to turn this all the way around, and it's going to go right back on them. He's doing this on purpose. Nothing is by accident. This was pre-planned, and they have a certain agenda that they'll be pushing forward. And you can see the patriots, they are in total control. Remember, truth, facts, evidence, that will always stand up to propaganda. And you know what's going to happen. They're going to get his tax returns. And guess what? There's going to be nothing there. And Trump is going to show the world that all of this was just to get him. Now let's head on down to the border. The wall is going up, and the Border Patrol explains how the old wall is coming down and the new one is going up. Take a listen to what they said.
My name is Assistant Chief Patrol Agent Joshua Divac. Where I'm standing right now is on the international border between the United States and Mexico, south of El Centro, California. To my left is the country of Mexico, and as you can see, there is some border barrier in place here. This border barrier is referred to as Normandy Barrier. It was put into place years ago to help prevent against the illegal crossing of vehicles into the United States. As you can see, it provides no protection against people crossing illegally into the United States, as well as anyone carrying illicit drugs, weapons, anything like that. The United States Border Patrol needed a better solution. Right here, what we have is the new border wall system that's currently being constructed in El Centro sector. And in the areas where it was completed, we have seen a significant decrease in illegal crossings, a significant decrease in human smuggling, and a decrease in assaults against our agents. The border wall system doesn't only come with a 30-foot steel bollard barrier, it also is accompanied by border roads, lighting, and detection technology. Where we are right now is a 15-mile section that's currently under construction. Here in El Centro sector, we are also undergoing an additional 11-mile section of new border wall system.
And as you can see, the border is secure. Now, out in Syria, the deep state players, they're panicking big time. You can see all the countries, they're saying this shouldn't be happening. The mainstream media, Hillary Clinton, even Lindsey Graham. Remember, he was involved in Syria with McCain. He's very worried about this. And the deep state, the mainstream media, they're pushing the idea that Turkey is invading Syria and killing the Kurds. This entire operation was planned from the beginning. So far, a total of 342 terrorists have been neutralized by the Turkish forces since the beginning of Operation Peace Spring. The term neutralized implies that fighters in question either have surrendered or they were killed or captured. Now, what's very interesting is that the U.S.-backed Kurdish forces from the SDF have reported that they're halting all their anti-ISIS operations within Syria because of the Turkish invasion of their territory. Now, remember, the Kurdish area was a safe haven for the paid mercenary forces. And the SDF, the Kurds, they were not going after the Islamic State. What's inside of this region is the deep state operatives. That's what's in there. Certain paid mercenary armed forces, other deep state operatives that were protected in the Kurd area. Now, remember, Trump and the White House, they have to maintain certain optics on the situation. Let's go back for a sec to Syria. When Trump was first in office, they fired missiles into Syria at an airbase, and the airbase was cleared. And once everything was said and done, there was really no damage. It opened right up a couple hours later. Those missiles at the time were headed for the deep state, not Syrian forces, not Russian forces. Remember, Trump was on the news and he had to maintain optics at that time. The same thing is happening here, and you'll see why. So, Trump and the White House, they are putting out messages, and this is from the White House. National Security Advisor Robert O'Brien, we made this very clear to President Erdogan early on that the invasion of Syria was a bad idea. We do not endorse the military operation. We're not involved in the military operation, and they're saying that this should never be happening. Trump tweeted out the following: we defeated 100% of the ISIS caliphate and no longer have any troops in the area under attack by Turkey and Syria. We did our job perfectly. Now Turkey is attacking the Kurds, who have been fighting each other for over 200 years. We have one of three choices: send in thousands of troops and win militarily, hit Turkey very hard financially and with sanctions, or mediate a deal between Turkey and the Kurds. Today we found out that Trump went ahead and he's thinking about placing sanctions on Turkey. This is all part of the plan. Remember, when he fired those missiles into Syria, they placed sanctions on Syria, and I believe Russia at the time. Think about that for a sec. Optics are very important. Now, this was a brilliant move by Trump. How do you get the paid mercenary army and the deep state operatives in the Kurdish area, where the Kurds are protecting all these individuals? How do you remove them? Well, if the U.S. forces did this, it would look very suspicious. Actually, a lot of them, we didn't have enough in there, first of all. If you asked the Kurds to do this, the deep state operatives would have countered. So how do you remove these players? You have Turkey do it. And I do believe this plan was made with Putin, with Trump, and Erdogan. And Erdogan knows, yes, there's going to be sanctions. This is all part of the plan. So they let Turkey push their operation in Syria. The deep state and the mainstream media, their focus is no longer on Trump. It is on Turkey. Turkey is the bad entity. Trump and the White House say that Turkey needs to stop or else. Once the operation is complete and the rest of the paid mercenary army and the deep state players are defeated and removed, Trump then will come out and say, we need to mediate a peace deal with Turkey and the Kurds. They might even bring in Putin, and most likely Syria will get involved. Now, once there is a deal made, who looks incredible? Trump. What happened to all the black sites and the deep state operatives within this area? They are gone. This was pre-planned to finish up the operation in Syria. They needed this part to be free of the black sites. They're being protected by the Kurds. And remember, do you really think that Putin or even Trump would allow Erdogan to start a major war in Syria when Trump is trying to remove the troops and Putin spent a huge amount of resources removing the Islamic State? Do you really think they want another war there? No, they don't. And this, as you can see, and this is why Trump laid out the three alternatives. We're not sending military back in, so he's using sanctions and he's going to mediate a deal. Brilliant move. Now, when we start to look at what is going on here, Trump and the patriots, they're shutting everything down. Economically, anything that's happening out in the Middle East or Ukraine or Afghanistan, inside the country. Why are they doing this? Remember, timing is very important. Each phase, they're making them feel pain. Everything they work for in the Middle East is falling apart. Everything they did in Ukraine is falling apart. Everything they did in Afghanistan is falling apart. Everything they did in this country is falling apart. Everything they did economically, it's falling apart. Everything is coming down around them. And Trump and the patriots, they time this perfectly. The deep state, they are trapped. There is no way out of this for them. The only thing they have left is an event. That's it. That's all they have. And what will that get them? It's not going to get them that much. The only thing I can think of that would get them anywhere is an assassination attempt. And that's why the Marine Reserves have been called up to counter anything that they try to do. Because we know we're getting very, very close to the D class. Now, before I end this report, we know that Trump was giving a talk at a rally in Minneapolis. And during this rally, he hit the deep state players very, very hard. Take a listen to what he said out there. And what I did was I made a little montage and I split it up into all the different things that he said. Take a listen.
As Scott reported, everything about Omar is a fraud, including her name. Scott reports his sources told him that, quote, Omar's legal husband was Omar's brother and that she had married him for fraudulent purposes. You mean like coming into the United States, maybe? People are looking because what AOC has gotten away with campaign financing and what I call it AOC plus 3, that's what it is. And Omar is one of the 3. What AOC has gotten away with all of that money that she used for her personal self with campaign finance is worse. And nothing happens to them, but it happens to you, and it's not fair. Months earlier, Peter Strzok. Remember, he and his lover, Lisa Page. What a group. She's going to win. 10 million to 1. She's going to win. I'm telling you, Peter. I'm telling you, Peter, she's going to win. Peter, oh, I love you so much. I love you, Peter. I love you too, Lisa. Lisa, I love you. Lisa. Lisa. Oh, God, I love you, Lisa. And if she doesn't win, Lisa, we've got an insurance policy, Lisa. We'll get that son of a bitch out. We got an insurance policy. And we're living through the insurance policy. That's what it is. The phony Russia hoax. Very well. Polls are no different than crooked writers. They're crooked polls. They're crooked polls. No different. Well, that's a lot of media. Look back there. That's a lot of media. And your father was never considered smart. He was never considered a good senator. He was only a good vice president because he understood how to kiss Barack Obama's ass. As you know, for many years, leaders in Washington brought large numbers of refugees to your state from Somalia without considering the impact on schools and communities and taxpayers. You should be able to decide what is best for your own cities and for your own neighborhoods, and that's what you have the right to do right now, and believe me, no other president would be doing that. They want to erase your voice, and they want to erase your future. But they will fail because in America, the people rule again. There's nothing that the dirty political establishment hates more than a president that they cannot intimidate, own, and control. They're trying to stop me because they know that I don't answer to them, I answer to you. It's true.
Listen, everyone, thanks a lot for listening. Be well, be safe, and especially be prepared. Thanks a lot.